take on traditional American birthday kebabs. You know American birthday kebabs, right? Yeah. Where you put the marshmallow and the hot dog on a stick.
Wait a minute.
Ivanka Trump does it, and the Filipinos do it too.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction.
Yes.
Super excited about this video, guys. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hello friends, my name is JJ, and as longtime viewers of this channel will know, my mother is an immigrant from Holland. And when I was growing up, one of my favorite meals that she would cook for me was this traditional Dutch dish of like flat noodles with peas and chicken and this special tangy black sauce. In my house, we always just called it the Dutch noodles, but I later learned that its real name is bami goreng, and it is in fact not even a Dutch meal at all, but rather an Indonesian one. For you see, the Dutch used to control Indonesia, and one of the byproducts of their colonial empire was that a lot of Indonesian food found its way into the Dutch diet. But along the way, a lot of these foods were also significantly changed to make them more palatable to Dutch tastes. For example, the Dutch really love to deep fry everything, so one popular snack treat that you can buy over there is this little hockey puck of deep fried bami noodles, which they call a bami schep. It did go both ways, however. The Indonesians wound up eating a lot of Dutch food as well, including hagelslaw, which are like these little chocolate sprinkles on toast, and poffertjes, which are mini pancakes. So today we are going to look at some more stories of stuff like this. What are some other examples of ways in which one country has come to eat the traditional food of another, and how much did they change along the way? Obviously, one of the biggest examples of this has been the interplay between British and Indian cuisine. Back in the mid-19th century, when British rule of India was going at full speed, the British introduced black tea to India, which the Indians then proceeded to mix with their own unique blend of herbs and spices, thus creating the chai tea that we all know and love today. Or as the Indians just call it, spice tea, since chai just means tea in Hindi. I think I will microwave myself a cup right now. Ah, Colonial. Tea, of course, was originally imported to Britain from China, meaning the chai tea that the Indians drink by the bucket load today is actually 2 degrees removed from the original version. 2 degrees of separation is a pretty common phenomenon when it comes to countries embracing foreign foods, as we shall see. During their centuries-long rule of India, the Brits turned the Indians on to a few of their other trademark foods as well, particularly cookies, which are quite popular over there. The hottest cookie brand in India is even named Britannia. But it would probably be fair to say that the Indians have had a lot more success making their own food popular in Britain. A lot of Brits took a liking to spicy Indian food when they were over there, British food not exactly being well known for its robust flavor. So Indian curries have been served in England in one form or another for over 200 years, a reality which has only increased since Indian people began immigrating to England in large numbers in the 20th century. Particularly in the big cities, the curry house has now become one of the most iconic types of British restaurant. But a lot of what they sell are uniquely British curries that have been developed over time to be acceptable to British taste buds. Dishes like chicken tikka masala, or the British version of korma or vindaloo, would probably taste a little bit off to a lot of Indians. The British tend to like curries that are thicker and sweeter and more tomato-y than what is common in India. But the Brits are very proud of their curries all the same. In fact, one of their popular patriotic soccer songs just consists of people yelling Vindaloo over and over again. Fact about Vindaloo curry, however, is that it isn't even traditionally Indian. It was actually a meat dish from Portugal that the Indians took a liking to during their interactions with the Portuguese in the 16th century. Vina da luz is what the Portuguese called it. So in other words, what the Brits are eating is a Britishified version of an Indianified version of a dish from Portugal. 2 degrees, you see? Now, the popularity of curry in Britain has had consequences for other countries. During the late 19th century, for instance, when Britain was becoming a closer military ally of Japan, British sailors are said to have introduced Indian curry to the Japanese. Today, curry is a very popular fast food in Japan, much more so than I think a lot of foreigners might expect. I know when I was in Japan, I was very surprised at the number of curry chains everywhere, as well as the vast assortment of curry mixes you could buy at the supermarket. But once again, thanks to multiple degrees of separation, Japanese curry is now pretty far removed from the Indian version. I'm sure most Indians wouldn't even recognize what the Japanese are eating to be curry at all. It's really more of a sort of semi-sweet gravy stew, often served with miniature onions and ginger slices and deep-fried pork. Yet the Japanese think that this is traditional Indian food and will often advertise it with little cartoon drawings of stereotypical Indian guys and whatnot. Japanese cuisine in general is quite surprisingly internationalized. We often think of Japanese food as an example of a very authentic...
I just think he's gonna ruffle some feathers because people like the food and they taste and it's just like it's good. We don't know where it originated. We just like it.
And some people like, you know, the foods that has been modified so much in their country, when they go to the new country and taste the authentic, sometimes they don't like it.
Of course.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah. So...
although it may be a better version.
It is the best version, most likely.
Yes, because they created it.
For years and years and years, we have just, not we, but people have eaten certain dishes similar to the one as original, but this has been modified. Yeah. So it's like, this is what I'm used to, this is my taste buds adjusted to. That's just not my taste.
We see that a lot with our food from Louisiana. Cajun seasoning. Just because somebody slapped the words Cajun seasoning on the bottle does not make it Cajun seasoning.
At all.
Or Creole seasoning. Or shrimp and grits. Just because you have shrimp and grits doesn't make it shrimp and grits.
It's a way. It's the way to make it. It's a way to make it, and even like boudin. Like some people will get boudin, and then they will start twisting up the flavor of it by adding all this other extra stuff in it, and we're like, yeah, we just need that original one, bro.
Yeah, you took it too far.
But this is the newer one. Nah, it was never new. It's, I don't know.
Pick type of national cuisine that hasn't been overly tainted by foreign influences, which is of course a very common stereotype of Japanese culture more broadly. But in reality, their food scene has just as much foreign influence as anywhere in the West. For example, another thing that really struck me about Japan was just how much bread they eat. You go to any Japanese supermarket and they will have a huge bakery section full of all sorts of different rolls and buns and things. Bread is not native to Japan, however. It was introduced to them by the Portuguese sometime in the 16th century. To this day, they still call it pan, which is some sort of Japanese corruption of the Portuguese word for bread, which is pau. One of the favorite Japanese bread snacks is what they call melon pan, which is a Japanese version of concha, which is a crusty sweet bread, very popular in Mexico, but originally from somewhere in Europe. Melon pan slash concha is actually a good example of a food that has been so thoroughly embraced by a different country that the country it originally came from has sort of been lost to time. The Japanese also eat something known as curry pan, which is a kind of American-style jelly donut that's full of curry. It always reminded me of the thing that one of the bad guys in Fantastic Mr. Fox eats. But in any case, curry pan and melon pan are so popular in Japan. They even have these little superhero characters called Curry Pan Man and Melon Pan Girl, who are very popular with babies. Alright, so south of Japan we have Vietnam, which is another very good example of a country whose cuisine has been very heavily influenced by its colonial past. Vietnam was colonized by France, the land of cafes, baguettes, and rich desserts. As a result, the Vietnamese love to eat baguette sandwiches known as banh mi, a distinctive type of drip coffee they call café, and a type of custard known as bánh flan, which is the Vietnamese version of creme caramel. In fact, even the most iconic Vietnamese dish of all, pho, is a product of French influence. Pho is said to be rooted in a Vietnamese effort to create a Vietnamese version of a traditional French beef and vegetable soup known as pot au pho. The Vietnamese eventually shortened it to just pho, meaning people like me who go around calling it pho are in fact objectively pronouncing it wrong by any standard. Have you ever had those delicious egg tarts they sometimes have at Chinese restaurants? It probably won't surprise you to learn that those are originally from Europe, introduced by the Portuguese back when they were out mucking about in China. We don't think about them much these days, but at one time the Portuguese had one of the biggest empires in the world, and as a result, their foods turn up in all sorts of unexpected places. For example, consider the popular fast food chain Nandos. It's from South Africa, and their main thing is this unique type of spicy...
Did not expect him to slide that in there. We've been talking about Nandos a while, and all the other dishes is just like you mentioned, the po' boys. So it's like, I didn't notice.
Right, and when he got to the pho, it made me think of the yakka meat. Because, you know, yakka meat is not American at all, but we have Americanized it.
Facts.
Yes, we have.
I mean, that's what that's how it is.
We love us some yakka meat.
And I think that just comes, like, if food even involves, you know, with time.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but it has, look, for us, like, it gotta make sense. It gotta be good.
Yeah, we're gonna make it good.
Have some flavor.
Yeah, we're gonna put our foot in
spices.
Right?
Chicken. See, back when they were out conquering the world, the Portuguese discovered chili peppers in South America and imported them into their African colony of Mozambique. The Mozambicans, for their part, really liked the taste of chilies, which they call peri, and used them to flavor all sorts of different dishes, including chicken. And much like the British with curry, the Portuguese eventually appropriated peri chicken into their own thing. Today, it is probably the best known Portuguese food in the world, after those tarts. But why is Nandos a South African company, you ask? Well, during the 1960s and 70s, the Portuguese launched a very brutal war against pro-independence rebels in Mozambique, and a lot of white Portuguese settlers living in Mozambique then fled to next-door South Africa, which under the apartheid government of that time was allied with Portugal. And one of those Portuguesers who made the move was Nando Duarte, the founder of Nandos. So I guess that's a somewhat problematic story, but Nandos tries to make up for it by being one of South Africa's most progressive companies, very big into LGBT rights and that sort of thing. Alright, so how about America? Now, the United States never had much of an empire compared to the countries in Europe. Its main territorial conquests in the age of imperialism were in Mexico, and I think most of us are pretty familiar with the way that traditional Mexican foods have been the United States never had much of an empire compared to the countries in Europe. Its main territorial conquests in the age of imperialism were in...
Looking at the map. I'm surprised Louisiana is like that.
Barely.
Okay.
But, wow. And then...
Mexico.
Yeah.
Arizona, Colorado, Utah, Nevada.
Why do you say Utah?
Of course, California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think most of us are pretty familiar with the way that traditional Mexican foods have been absorbed into the American diet over the years, with gigantic cheesy tacos and burritos and Mexi fries. But the more interesting story is the degree that American cuisine has been impacted by immigration, particularly Italian immigration. See, in the late 19th century, Italy was a poor and poorly run basket case, so a lot of Italians emigrated to the US, particularly New York and New Jersey. They came largely from southern Italy, which was the most troubled part. Because a lot of these Italian immigrants were poor farmers, they ate what at the time would have been traditional poor southern Italian farmer food, like pasta and pizza. Pizza in particular was really not something that was considered special at all in 19th century Italy. It was basically just flat bread with tomato paste and garlic. But you see, the Italian immigrants to America were able to get quite rich quite quickly, at least by Italian standards. And this allowed them to really fancy up their peasant food, chiefly by adding a lot of meat to everything. Pepperoni on pizza, meatballs in the spaghetti, beef in the ravioli, excuse me, beefaroni. After World War II, this decadent Italian-American food was also some of the first to get caught up in the great American post-war craze of making food super mass-produced and convenient. Because pizza and pasta are made of relatively simple ingredients, it is very easy to manufacture quickly and at a massive scale, much like that other most beloved American immigrant meal, the hamburger. This is one of the reasons, by the way, that so-called authentic Italian pizza that you buy at those fancy restaurants with the red brick oven and all the rest are just a load of BS. Unless you're eating that really...
Nah, they do have the red brick oven.
Yeah,
they still have those. They actually have one out here in Texas.
Yeah.
I've seen one.
I actually like those. I can taste the difference.
It does have a big difference.
Yes, I love it. I do.
Boring margarita-style pizza, you are not eating anything that a 19th century Italian peasant would recognize. Italian-American cuisine was also exported to America's most prominent overseas colony, the Philippines, which America ran from 1898 to 1946 after acquiring them from Spain. To this day, Filipinos are very fond of eating American-style spaghetti with meat sauce, except that they also put banana ketchup in it to make it sweet, and sometimes cut up bits of salty Filipino-style hot dogs. You can see that they've put their spin on everything. Even good old American apple pie. The Filipinos really took to it, but unfortunately apples are in rather short supply in that part of the world. So instead they invented something called buko pie, which is a kind of apple pie made of unripened coconuts. In the popular Filipino fast food chain Jollibee, you can even buy buko pies done up in the style of those little apple pies they sell at McDonald's. But nowhere have
I don't know no other restaurant that serves chicken and spaghetti.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
When we tried it, we was like, they got spaghetti? Let's just get the chicken first. Let's try the chicken.
Because I've never eaten spaghetti from a restaurant that wasn't an Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
But I've never eaten spaghetti from a fast food restaurant.
See what you did there? That wasn't an Italian restaurant.
Italian-American. Yeah.
But we get it though.
Yeah.
Because like it's just basically what he's saying. It's like when the food, people start to move around and set up shop and start to serve food that way. That's how we came hip to it. It's Italian dish. It's an original Italian dish. So
yeah, I don't think I'm gonna ever eat anybody's spaghetti from a restaurant. From a fast food restaurant. That's like a home cooked.
Right. There's just some dishes that I just won't eat anywhere else other than the original.
Yeah, or at home.
Like location of it.
Yes.
Filipinos had more fun with American cuisine than with their take on traditional American birthday kebabs. You know American birthday kebabs, right? Yeah. Where you put the marshmallow and the hot dog on a stick.
Wait a minute.
Ivanka Trump does it, and the Filipinos do it too. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you know any other good examples of where one country eats a modified version of some other country's traditional food. If you
now, I don't know the origins of many things, but I do know that it's just not American. I don't know, but like
the marshmallow and the marshmallow.
I ain't never
heard it. I heard it kebab. She said
birthday kebab.
A birthday kebab. I thought it was more like a pastry almost.
I thought he was talking about kebabs, like with the meat, the shrimp, the veggies on the stick.
Hey, well, it's a marshmallow on the on the meat.
Yeah,
on the stick.
You know, it's crazy. We have been in Texas for going on 4 years. I still have not eaten Tex-Mex. I don't even know what it's about. I don't know.
That like, man, what is the name of that? Tex-Mex?
Tex-Mex.
Ain't that kind of the same?
Mexican food.
Oh, that's a thing. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar. Maybe because I wasn't hip to it.
Yeah, we still trying to find Louisiana great foods.
Yeah,
here.
we definitely we got a few dishes that we eat from Texas, but we don't go too far into how Texas operate when it comes to how they cook.
Some things are just different.
Yeah, barbecue's on point.
Yeah, we love the barbecue.
Love the barbecue.
Yeah,
but some dishes is just
Yeah.
You remember when we first came and we got a big platter of fish?
Yeah.
I mean, we had a big aluminum foil pan of straight fish with ranch. And we was going in, it was like, where is the seasoning?
Yeah, where's the seasoning?
It wasn't seasoned.
Yeah, so we still trying to find like our authentic Louisiana peoples.
But it's all good though. It got ate up, so.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to close this video.
Yeah.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have a day with our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your reaction requests to our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.